part 3 of The Importance of Humanity. So I went back and watched part 1 and part 2, and I totally got off track of what I was talking about. And for those who watch me, y'all know that shit happens like on a daily basis. And there's not a video that I have not made since I stopped doing Kung Fu that involves me talking that I actually can stay on track on the topic in which I started. For that, I am sorry. But the importance of humanity. I need to make this third one so that people wouldn't think I was insane and that I didn't know what I was talking about. So I went back and I watched them. And yeah, I completely got off track when I started talking about condoms and men not doing their jobs as daddies, and that stuff has like minute factors in what I was trying to get at. I got into racial shit. I got into things that really do affect humanity, but that does not change the fact that I personally got off track. Alright, so now I'm on track. There's a reason why the importance of humanity needs to be discussed. First, let me pause this because I got to get these Steve Wilkoses off the air. We as humans, we tend to stray from the path in which we need to be on. I just posted some stuff on Facebook about how when we get to a certain age, we all know right from wrong. Why is it so easy to do wrong instead of doing what's right? Because doing what's right is the thing that we should be striving to do, and we just choose not to do it. Is there a genetic flaw in the human genome that makes us think, well, maybe if I just do what I want, it's easier? Or is there some part of us that's human that says, you know, maybe we ought to take the time to think things through before we do them? I don't have an answer for that because I am not a doctor. But I will tell you this, because I tend to get off track. I'm making this video to make up for what I fucked up on video 2. We humans tend to look for what benefits us individually as what individually our ultimate goal as humans should be to look out for what benefits everyone instead of what benefits ourselves. This is why the importance of humanity must be adjusted. We have racial issues. We have gender issues. We have issues where we won't let a kid who has a gender identity crisis go to the bathroom in which he or she feels most comfortable with. And yet we dare chastise them for being different. You know, there have been a lot of transgender murders that no one has looked into because they're transgender. There have been a lot of black murders and white murders that no one has looked into due to the fact of that person that was murdered had some kind of reputation. Humanity. Why? Why do we do these things? Why do we turn a blind eye to important issues that affect everyone of every race, where if it affects our race directly, we decide, hey, maybe we ought to look into this because of the simple fact that it doesn't just affect anyone else but us. I know you're all thinking, but James, you went off track so well in the other one. Yes, I did. I left off the fact that humanity tends to have the biggest problem, and that is that humanity ain't always humane. Alright? I have a big time ethics exam tomorrow. And I like to think that as a human being, I try to do things that are ethically and morally right. I probably didn't say that right, so let me try it again. Ethically and morally right. And we talk about humans and we try to teach our young the ways of the world, but we have to teach them to do the right thing so we can teach them to make things better for everyone, not just themselves and society. But we as adults and as humans lack this perspective of what is right and what's wrong sometimes, because what's right for me might not be wrong for you. Example, as a man who doesn't have kids but have nieces and nephews, if something happens to them, I strongly believe in justice versus most people who believe in the law. And as a grown man, as I was growing up, I've learned a lot of things that justice and the law are not always the same thing. The wheels of the law do work. The wheels of justice turn way too fucking slow. And what we often think as justice is not really enforced by the law. That example that I was going to give you is, let's say I have a wife or a daughter And as they caught the guy who did these killing and rapes, my version of justice is, well, if you aren't going to execute him, put him in a room with all those victims and let them have at it. Justice served. But everyone will look at me and say, James, that is inhumane. It would not be fair for all the women that he raped to go and sodomize him with a stick. And what about the victims' husbands who he killed? Plus, hell, the wives and husbands that we can't bring back that he killed. Humanity would kick in. The rules of the law would kick in and say, no, James, that is not humane. It is not good for you guys to let the victims and their families have 5 minutes with him because they're probably going to kill him. But he killed, like, yay, so many people. He was an ex-police officer, someone that we're supposed to trust, someone who's supposed to serve and protect everyone, just like us vets. We take that same oath of service. Ours might be a tiny bit different where we don't just serve and protect everyone. We serve and protect the country. We swore an oath to protect that flag that you see on Captain America's chest, that you see on every building in America. There is an American flag. There might not be a state flag, but there's an American flag on damn near every building of the government with Old Glory flapping in the wind. And my oath of service was to serve and protect this country and its people from foreign and domestic terrorism. Cops, they really just have to deal with domestic terrorists and criminals. But the wheels of justice works when it works. The law has laws against injustice and inhumane criminal treatment towards criminals. See where I'm going with that? So humanity, the humanity in us, we have a lot of people who do not support the death penalty. We got a lot of people who do support the death penalty. I personally am on the fence. If you can prove to me without a shadow of a doubt that this motherfucker is guilty and that he did it, I'm not going to be the one to pull that switch, to let the gas in or let the lethal injection in, but I'm not going to stop you. Now, if y'all prove him innocent, and if DNA clears him, or if DNA convicts him, again, I'm not going to stop you. But I will say this, I don't want to be in his shoes. Now, if I'm in his shoes, I'm like, y'all just go ahead and kill me because I don't want to fucking suffer. People don't like that because people want to say, well, maybe there's some redeeming qualities left in him and that we can save him. Dude been raping and murdering people. There's not a whole lot of redeeming qualities after you rape a 12-year-old girl. I'm sorry. The rules of justice would apply for me to, if I may quote Frank Castle, this is not about vengeance. This is punishment. Way to go, Thomas Jane. And that's the way I feel about it. It isn't right for a serial rapist who becomes a serial murderer to rape and kill people and then turn around and do a child. And that the law would put this motherfucker in jail for 15 to 20, and he's killed people. Yet they want to give Bill Cosby 30 years for rape, which is just as bad, if not worse, than killing people. Slim Jim. And the thing is, those ladies want justice. They don't want the law. They want justice. They've been violated. I agree with that. If I was a woman and I was raped, I damn sure one of two things going to happen. I'm going to catch that motherfucker and cut him up. Make sure he never rapes another person. Or I want him locked up for life, where he can't get the fuck out and do it to someone else. Now, playing devil's advocate, that's not how the law works. In fact, if you want the truth, because of our overindulgence of criminals having more rights than victims, sometimes the criminal gets 5 to 10 years. Some of them serve without even being served. Gavel down, guy goes home. 6 months later, motherfucker done it again, but this time it's worse. And this is how these things happen. This is why the importance of humanity must be questioned a lot of times, because when is it humane to be inhumane? Alright? In the Bill Cosby case, all these ladies came out way too late. And they say it's never too late to report a crime. I agree with that. But at the same time, you have issues where certain states have statute of limitations. And then what if it was reversed? What if women raped men instead of men raping women? What if women literally turned around like tomorrow and just start picking random men and just start raping them? How would that work out? Would justice or the law kick in? How would it work? No one would know, because we know that that shit's never going to happen in the real world. But let's say our humanity kicks in. A woman goes around, she's infected with HIV. She doesn't tell anybody. She has consensual sex with them, and then they find out that they have HIV. Unfortunately, in real life, that's actually a fucking crime. It's illegal for you to purposely infect people with HIV. So, where do the victims of that go? They turn to the law. The law can lock her up, but how long will she stay locked up? Because laws are laxed, and some laws are more laxed on females than they are on males, and it really depends on where you are and how severe your crime is. Again, humanity. The importance of humanity kicks in these situations. There's nothing wrong with being humane. Nothing. But at what point do we decide that our humanity is more important than the victim of a crime? You know, when do we decide, hey, that shit's not cool? You know, what are we doing about it? We can't let this continue to happen. But this is the difference between law and justice, and this is why the importance of humanity must fall within that system between law and justice. Like I said, I got a couple of nieces, some nephews, and if anybody wanted to hurt them, and it got back to me, if I catch that person, I'm going to jail. I'm never going to see freedom, but justice will be served. Where if the law catches them before I catch them, they're going to go to jail eventually, but they have to go to jail, then they have to go to trial, and if we're blessed, those motherfuckers will go to prison. And if we're not, they won't. So I would be like the father of those gymnasts who tried to dive across that motherfucking table and beat that sorry son of a bitch's ass. Humanity. It's very important. And the importance of humanity is that we learn how to be humane. But even the humanest of humans has a line. I want y'all to think about that, because justice and the law, humanity, they all roll into the same thing. Humanity is that thin line that keeps us from seeking revenge, because revenge is the dark side of justice. But what about punishment? Punishment is also a dark side of justice, because we often punish criminals who do bad things to children or bad things to women. We don't really punish criminals who really do bad things to men outside of life in prison. But we have these laws in place because there is a such thing as called inhumane treatment. And once we reach that threshold, we become the monsters that we are locking up in the first place. I'm James Williams Jr. I hope this third video clears out the importance of humanity. So I will post this on Facebook, because the other one went on, but the second one's not going on because I got so totally out of track. I'm James Williams Jr. This is Comfort Habit number 2. Be seeing you.